This is Christine Pistro, Silicon Valley Independent Living Center, she, her, hers, here in San Jose, California, just like Mark. Hi, Mark. And Jessica, can you pick someone?
Sure. How about Herschel?
Hello, hi. My name is Herschel Jackson. I'm from Illinois, Iowa Center on Independent Living in Rock Island, Illinois.
Thanks so much, Herschel. Let's see. Monica, have you gone yet?
No. Oh, there are two Monicas, I think.
Oh, sorry, Monica Bartley. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Hi, I'm Monica. I work with the Center for Independence of the Disabled New York, and my pronouns are she, her. Thank you, and I'll pass it to Kathleen.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Collins, and I'm with Downstate New York Adapt, and also on the board of Disabled in Action.
Great, thank you. Marissa?
Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa Ditkowski. My pronouns are she, hers. I am at SEDEC DC in Washington, DC. I am a white woman with dark hair and a ponytail and glasses, and I am currently wearing a gray t-shirt. And it's very hard to keep up with who I'm supposed to be passing to versus who has responded in the chat.
It's true. I can help if you want.
Yeah, if you're able to help,
how about
that would be
Tara?
appreciated.
Hi, my name is Tara Ahern, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am from Illinois. I work for the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. And I'd love some help with picking.
Yes, I'll take it over if that's helpful.
Okay.
Thank you. Rami?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rami. I use he, him, and they, them pronouns. I'm with Detroit Disability Power, where I serve as a community organizer, and I am in, as the name states, Detroit, Michigan. And Brian Peters, have you gone yet? Yes, the beautiful floral background.
Okay.
I want Brian's, this is the interpreter, Brian's waving. He's saying, okay, my name is Brian Peters from Independent, is that Milwaukee? Or the interpreter's checking where that's?
Milwaukee.
I was right, yes, Milwaukee.
Great, welcome, Brian. And I see another Brian, Brian Shea. You wanna go ahead?
And I'm glad to be here. Brian Peters is saying.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Brian Shea,
we're switching interpreters right now, so just one little sec.
okay. Yeah, sorry. Okay. I'm Brian Shea, he, him, Boston, and I work with the Disability Justice and Rights Caucus of Workers' War Party, and I'm also with Mass Adapt in Second Thoughts, Massachusetts. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And thank you for those who have introduced themselves in the chat. We have Julie Farr, she and her Independent Living Center of Hudson Valley in Albany, New York. Let's see, Mark Ramoser introduced himself. Mark Johnson, he, him, his from Simpsonville, South Carolina. Let's see, Herschel Jackson introduced himself. Clark Craig, he and him, Progress Center for Independent Living, community organizer at Forest Park, Illinois. And Jaylyn Radziminski, I hope I got your name close. She and they at the Bazelon Center for Mental Health Law in Washington, DC, and Count Us in Indiana. Let's see, we heard from Kathleen, Diane Coleman, she and her, not dead yet, Rochester, New York. Amber O'Haver, I'm realizing I'm going way too fast for interpreters, I apologize. Amber uses she, her, hers from the Indiana Statewide Independent Living Council in Indianapolis. Sarah Potter, who's a parent advocate, she and her, North Carolina. works with the local Consumer and Family Advisory Committee for a managed care organization. Craig Towler, community organizer at Center for People with Disabilities in Boulder. And Leonore Vanik, she and her on the executive board in Chicago with the National Coalition of Latinx with Disabilities. Oh, that's great. We don't always have that group represented. Really exciting. And my coworker, Ligia Montano, she and her senior in disability action. So I think we have a few people who haven't introduced themselves. If anyone wants to do it out loud, I'm just going to invite you to go ahead and jump in, or you can put it in the chat.
Terrence Page, president of the Greater New York Council of the Blind, the American Council of the Blind.
Wonderful. Terrence, that's you at the 813, right?
That's me. Hi, Karen Clay, pronouns her, she. I'm in Tampa, Florida. I'm the outreach person for Florida Voices, disability outreach for Florida Voices for Health. I head up the Democratic Disability Caucus of Florida and co-chair the Southeast region of the DNC Disability Council. Thank you.
Thanks, Kara. There's a lot of background noise on your end. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you. You can unmute with *6 later. Okay, anyone else want to introduce themselves?
My name is Jennifer. I represent disability justice in the state of Oregon. I'm in the Dalles, Oregon in particular.
Great. Thank you. Okay, I'm just, oops.
Good day, all. Larry Labiak, Chicago Park District Disability Policy Officer, he, him, his. I'm a former resident of the San Joaquin Valley, so I'm envious of all my California friends on the call today because we're digging out of 30 inches of snow here in the big city of Big Shoulders.
I know, I'm so sorry that so many of you, it sounds like, are buried in snow or really cold. And yeah, I think we're the only part of the country that's not dealing with that. So good luck to all of you. I hope you're staying safe and warm. So let's jump into the topic, which is about the state of disability organizing. And so that was really helpful to hear from folks. It sounds like we are from all over the country and a lot of organizers on the call. So this should be really good. So, you know, one thing I wanted to start with is Allie Cannington last time raised a point about the difference between community organizing and advocacy. And I'm just going to ask for a quick volunteer about what do you see as the difference between those two things? Somebody help us out. People know this.
My name's Brian. I think I could do it. I think there's a difference between organizing and mobilizing. When you mobilize people, it's kind of like, you know, basically trying to get them out to a demonstration or trying to get them to sign a petition or what have you. But if you're organizing, it's more about developing the relationships. It's a deep, yeah, a lot of people use the term deep organizing because it's like you're basically talking to people and saying, what are your concerns? What are your boundaries? What is in your way? You know, people share their experiences and then they develop their own plans to deal with those. And it's a kind of it takes a longer time. It's not a quick fix. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that. I love that. I haven't heard that so much, but that makes a lot of sense, that mobilizing is you get people out to something. Organizing is a a more ongoing, longer term process of really getting to know each other. And I would add, people really taking on leadership. And the concept of organizing is it's the people who are directly affected by an issue who are the ones talking about it, right? That we who live with disabilities and experience the world that way are the best ones to talk about disability issues, right? And to make change. And advocacy, I think, is when we go and we speak up about an issue that affects us. And one person can do advocacy, right? We can advocate for ourselves. We can advocate for our community. It might be calling a legislator or going to a hearing or writing a letter. And those can also be parts of organizing. But advocacy is, on behalf of this group, I want this to happen, right? And organizing is saying, we have to actually build power, that we need to get those legislators to listen to us because they have to, because we're strong, not just because we have convinced them that this is the right thing to do.
Yep.
Does that make sense to folks? Are we all on the same page? Okay, so it was 2 weeks ago already that we heard from Andrea, Julia, and Karen, and I want to ask if there was anything that came up. I mean, I'm sure there are, but if people are thinking of it now, what were some of the things that were talked about in that call 2 weeks ago that really stuck with people? Can somebody share, what's one thing that you found really important? We're gonna have a quiet crowd today. Okay, so I'm gonna suggest that we go, I see Amber has a hand up. Go ahead, Amber, just unmute yourself.
Hi, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat the full question? I think I caught all of it, but I wanna make sure before I respond.
It was pretty broad. It was, what was a comment that one of the speakers made in the call 2 weeks ago that stuck with you, that you want to bring into this space?
Yes, meeting people where they're at. That I think is a huge one. I think we have this idea set, idea of set expectations of how people should advocate and when, and what they should be doing or shouldn't be doing, and instead of just sort of listening and meeting people where they're at and then starting from there with them. I thought that was really powerful to hear, and it was a really good message to repeat.
Thank you. Anything else?
Hey, Jessica, this is
Go ahead, Larry.
Larry in
Yes,
Chicago.
I have a question.
I'm gonna go Larry and then Jennifer.
One thing I took from it, I don't know if it was directly stated, but the importance of cross-disability advocacy, and that there's powers in numbers. An individual can make a viable difference, but there's power in numbers, and to recognize all of your constituencies and know who they are. That's it.
Great, thank you. And Jennifer?
Would you mind stating who the names of the panelists? Just
We had Andrea Lavant, Julia Bascom, and Karen Tamley. Jennifer, did you have a comment you wanted to share, or were you just asking for that?
No, thanks, not yet.
Okay, great. Anyone else want to? Janelle, go ahead.
Like even with Andrea or who was the other one you said? The other lady?
Andrea, Julia, and Karen.
And yeah. Well, basically, like when you were talking about like different system change or like a different advocacy, like they were saying cross disability and everything. Like just remember like where people came from and how to overcome where you've been coming from, and to set people of different disability and work through it, and to come together, it can be so powerful, and just to, work as a community to help stop some of the things people are going through with their disability, and to and to help create a better, you know, like I don't know how to say it, but create a better way for people to have more access to things and create a path for people with disability are being heard.
Thank you. Maybe one more comment about something that you remember that was powerful.
This is Julie Ferrer, and I put it in the chat, but that we work, so many of us work simultaneously almost on so many different levels, whether it's policy, legislative, individual work, community organizing. There's all of these levels, but it's all very necessary and we all contribute. And I think the main challenge that we have is making sure that all of those efforts are interlinked to have the maximum impact.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to suggest that we go into small groups, and I apologize, I'm trying to share some slides at the same time. I'm going to ask, when you get into small groups, maybe decide someone who can kind of facilitate, just keep the discussion going, and then someone who can take notes and someone who can report back. Actually, that'll be perfect because I think I'm going to put 3 or 4 people in each group. So everyone will have a job. Okay, I am sharing slides right now. If somebody can open these, and I'm going to ask for a volunteer to read out the questions that are on the second slide. And these are questions to guide your small group discussion. So whoever gets these open, go ahead and read those questions out loud.
This is Rami. I can go ahead and read them.
Thank you.
Questions for small groups. What threats/opportunities do you see for disability organizing in 2021? Andrea raised a concern that intersectionality and racial equity are quote unquote popular now, but may not last. How are we building them in? What lasting changes are we making? And the final question is, who do you want to reach out to and build relationships with? And they are in the chat now.
Does that sound good to folks? Those are the right questions for us to talk about in small groups. I got a thumbs up from Rami. Okay, great. So as far as small groups, I want to make sure that people have the access they need. So I'm gonna ask people who need ASL to remind me of that. Ideally say your name. Brian Peters, I see.
I see Herschel's hand. Herschel's hand is saying I need ASL.
Okay, Brian and Herschel. And Kat and Candace, you said that you would split up, is that right?
Yes, we can split.
Okay, great.
Are they, is it possible to be in the same group, or what do the constituents want? And Herschel is saying that we can be in the same group, it's fine.
Brian's saying, sure, that's fine as well. Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Same group is fine.
Are you wanting us to, the note taker, to type into the slides?
Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, so if somebody from the group, I mean, as many people as can, but at least make sure one person can open those slides that I just sent the link for, and pick a page, any page that says small group notes, and you can put your notes in there.
Thank you for doing that. It makes it easier.
Good. Yeah, I discovered that it makes it a lot easier than to have it later. So I'm sorry for the delay, everybody. Sit tight for 1 second while I make sure we're all set. Okay, and it's 10:32 now. How about if everybody has 12 minutes? Does that sound good, or 15? I never give people long enough. Okay, I'm gonna give you 15. If it's too long, you can come back. Oh, and I'm sorry, does anybody want the captioner in your room? Who is using captioning?
I have a question.
Mhm.
How do I get into the room?
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna put you in the room automatically.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, looks like we have a couple people that have to leave. If we have a group that's too small, I may end up moving you. Apologies if that's confusing, but that may happen right after you get in your small group. I'll make sure it doesn't take too long. Okay, so you're gonna go to your small group. You're gonna have somebody to go over the questions with folks and kind of facilitate, and then somebody to take notes, and either that person or someone else who can report back. When you report back though, I'm just gonna ask you to give 1 or 2 main points from your group. All right, sound good? Everybody set? Here you go. For folks that are still here, let me know if you are not getting assigned or something.
I could just click right. I was not assigned.
That is weird. It is saying that you're in room 5, but that you didn't join. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it tells me
Funny.
the same thing. Room 5.
All right, I'm going to move you to a different room.
Now I'm in 4. You can't love technology. I must have misbehaved.
It's not working?
No. It says room 4, but I'm still here.
It's very strange. What is going on? Clark, would it be too much trouble for you to get off and then back on and we can try again?
I'll do that.
Okay, thanks.
I enjoyed it.
We had a great group.
Yay.
It was a good conversation, which could have lasted longer, I think.
Yeah. We'll have to get together offline, y'all.
All right, looks like everybody is back. So I'm glad to hear those went well. Thanks for the notes. I think one group may not have taken notes, so please pass those on to me later if you can. So let's go through, actually, you know what? I'm gonna go through by question and have groups jump in if you have something key that you wanna share. I made slide 9, a slide for threats and opportunities. Is there somebody who'd be willing to take some notes for the group? Okay, I'll either let people jump in or I'll do notes as well. Yeah, anybody from one of the groups, go ahead and jump in. What did you talk about as some of the key threats and opportunities?
This is Rami. We were breakout room 1, so I guess we'll start. We'll start with the opportunities. We talked about long-term services and support, LTSS, and how COVID especially has made it very clear that that should be a priority. We also talked about opportunities for work from home policies to stay intact, so that jobs are more accessible for people who would prefer and would be healthier if they work from home.
Jessica, this is Kathy, interpreter. I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to make sure that you check in that the people who need ASL can actually see the interpreter, because when screen sharing happens, sometimes the interpreter gets lost.
Good call. Thank you, Kat. Okay, so I stopped sharing for a moment. Can folks see the interpreter while we're screen sharing?
Yes, I'm able to see both screens at the same time.
Now I can see an interpreter, but so I don't need it. Yeah, I can see interpreter.
Okay, and Brian, are you fine with it? Because I don't have to share if it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I'm able to split the screens. No problem for me.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for checking in. Good collective access. Okay, Rami, was there more on threats and opportunities?
This is Rami. I do want to point out that Diane did offer a great perspective from organizing at a different time period, and how right now it's harder to do the in-person, the direct relationship building, obviously because of COVID. That's gotten even worse. So we need to keep thinking of ways to make organizing based on relationships and personable and relaxing and feel good, and not impersonal and 100% like virtual, distant, siloed.
That's great. Thank you.
I feel like the phenomenon.
Jaylyn shared some important stuff in a note to me. Do you want to share that out loud, Jaylyn, or do you want me to read it?
Sure, I can share. For threats, we put, I mean, essentially people are dying, you know, with COVID and the need for vaccines and outpatient care, the concerns of, you know, incarceration in congregate settings, for, you know, people with psychiatric disabilities, nursing homes. So we touched on that for a bit, and people just struggling to stay in their homes and survive. We're in the intersectional perspective, we're highly at risk just for keeping our jobs and our homes, in addition to just the risk of COVID in itself. You just wanted this threats and opportunity part, right?
Yeah, just that part. Thank you. And wow, the time goes so fast. It's already 54 minutes into the hour. This is also making me think, I appreciate a lot of comments about what we're seeing because of the pandemic, and particularly as we think about people getting vaccinated and opening up again. Maybe we want to do a future organizers forum call on what is one of those issues, like the work from home policies, maybe. How do we organize to make sure we keep some of the changes that are positive, or that we don't go back to, I know people have talked about this in a racial justice framework too, right? Let's not go back to the same racist society that we have been in. How do we not go back to the same ableist society as well? So interested in that as a future topic, maybe in the next couple months.
I agree.
Okay, cool. So, so thank you for that. Let's jump to how do we build in racial justice? Somebody want to share some of the ideas that came out of your group?
Obviously believe is belief that this wasn't constitutional, not in some cynical way, and not in some way.
This is Shelley, and I had, we're on slide, my notes are on slide 5 for those of that were in the group. We talked about getting our local officials involved, and talked about that we need equal representation and to not go back, but we need to push our officials forward. Our new administration in the White House is very open, and their cabinet looks like us as Americans with, you know, different cultures, different sizes, different ages, different experiences. And that's, so while we have their ear for the next 4 years, we should kind of push not only from the top down, but talk about to the White House, to our local officials, to our state officials, and do civic engagements from the top down, and hopefully make a change that way.
That's great. Yeah, similarly, Jalen posted from another group that they talked about change who is running things, right? That it's not just representation in government, but also in nonprofits and other groups. Is there one other idea on this one that came out of another group?
This is Rami. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say our group, we spoke about that collaboration across different groups to bring that intersectionality and funding, because the nonprofit industrial complex cuts racial and disability minorities out. Was just a point where we're saying tying it to that as well for accountability.
Thank you, that's great.
Jessica, I was talking with my group, the ladies in my group, and I just interviewed Jay Ruderman out of Boston, Massachusetts, and New York. He has the Ruderman Family Foundation, and I interviewed him for my podcast. I was just editing it earlier. And he was talking about, he has now CBS and NBC Universal to agree to hire persons either behind the camera or in front of the camera with disabilities. So there was a big thing on LinkedIn about that this week. But the one thing he mentioned, which I never really gave thought to, and it's so true, that we are obviously the largest marginalized minority group with disabilities on the planet. But we as persons with disabilities are not a collaborative effort. You have the deaf community, you have the blind community, you have the cerebral palsy community, you have the amputee community, but we don't gather together to bond to make one strong force. And I don't know if anybody else, right, silos. And we just don't do it, or we don't know how to do it. And I think a lot of these things that we're talking about could change. And he even said, we would be such a powerhouse if we got all of our groups together. So I don't know if that's something anybody else has talked about or thought about.
Yeah, so it's 10:59. We're gonna have to wrap up. That is a great question. And I think that's been a past topic for one of these calls, and I'd love to do that again. I'm gonna take Janelle's question and then wrap us up. Janelle, you have your hand up. Was that from before?
Yeah, oh, I mean, or the hand, I meant to do that. Yes, I want to talk about the building and racial justice. I believe, you should focus on what you believe in for everybody, and fight for what the cause. Do it with great beliefs, and with the beliefs you have with a great action. Take firm on it. Work on it each day. If you need to come up with a movement or protest, do that, but do it respectfully. And as you fight for what you believe in, work at it. Like, just help others to come together and to see, like, no matter what you believe in and what your differences are, to come together all as one, to fight for what you believe in, and to work together to move on through this, so we don't have to keep having like a war, even war or like battle because of anything that's going on, because we can't undispute what's going on. What was the question again? Racial justice?
Yeah, it was like, what are we doing to make sure that we have lasting change?
Just to talk about what we don't agree on, or we do agree on, don't disagree on, and it works through that with a great cause and great mission, and see what our movement is and where we stand, and work with our legislators and our county leaders in the community, disability community, and try to come together to work on it each day and get through whatever our differences are, so we can set aside that and just fight for a good cause.
Thank you so much. So we're over the hour. We are wrapping up, but I wanted to check with Candace or Kat, our interpreters, about whether you're okay staying a couple minutes over. Thank you for already being here over the hour.
This is interpreter speaking. I'm fine. Keep going.
Thank you so much. Okay, and everyone, we'll wrap up in a couple minutes because I want to respect people's time. But I think Jennifer had your hand up. Is that right?
Yes, me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, are we going a moment longer?
We're going a moment longer. Yeah, I mean, just to, keep it short if you can,
Yes.
but we want to hear from you.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to chime in with what Jalen said. And I think that what Shelley was also indicating, we were talking in our group about it, making any of these good changes in access endure and concern for the longevity. And what I was talking about was to answer what you're asking is where the disconnects are going on. And I think one of them is also the establishment from the top segregates or has the impact of segregating people with a disability. So I think we're just going to have to keep pushing and applying pressure on the cross disability strength or tip, and because I really think that that's what's, we do have a lot of power as a demographic if we were more united, rather than seeing each other as what if you call them silos or compartmentalized. Yeah, I mean, in Oregon, it's very much developmental or intellectual versus non-developmental intellectual. And I want to know, there's so many people being left out. I want to know why are so many people being left out? And so I want to know where that's going, where that's going on.
Thank you. Those are great points that we need to continue to explore. Thanks for
Ms.
bringing all that up.
Jessica, I hope I answer your point.
Yes.
Your question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are ongoing questions. There's no clear, simple answer, but I think everybody shared a lot of wisdom for us to take. So thank you for that. So this is one of the first calls that we've done where it was really time for us to talk with each other. And it seems like people are still here at 11:04. So I imagine people liked it. It sounds like it went well. One thing we've talked about is to be able to do this, the relationship building is so important. And so I have a lot of ideas. We don't have time to talk about it all now. I'm gonna make up a little kind of survey to send to all of you. And one of the big questions is, are people interested in being part of a cohort almost to kind of try this out, which would mean committing to being on these calls once or twice a month, so that we have time to talk to each other and get to know each other. And that may be too big a commitment, and that's okay. So just to explore some of those ideas. I appreciate all the comments about capturing the chat and sharing that out. I would also love if anyone wants to volunteer to help me with some of that. So if that's the case, go ahead and put that in the chat. And just some of the follow-up, like putting together the survey, getting it out, figuring out how we want to change things from here. And I will also put my personal email in the chat so you can feel free to reach out to me separately. And on that note, I just want to thank everyone. This was wonderful. I really appreciate all the great comments and the work that you're all doing in your communities. And thank you to our interpreters and our captioner. And oh, I forgot to check with the captioner about staying, and he did, so thank you. And I think we did it. So we'll be back next month, third Tuesday of March. I think it's February right now. Third Tuesday of March, same time. Hope to see you then. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Herschel saying bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Herschel.
See you later.
See you later, Leah.